Hi, it's Tyler and welcome back to After the Run. This is episode 5 where I'm going to recap episodes 1 through 4. This is the message and the movement. So I just want to kind of summarize what has happened so far and kind of recap that, but then talk about how you can get involved moving forward. This is an episode that I'm actually really excited about because everything up to this point has kind of been my story and about the channel, but now I get to talk about how you can be involved with this channel, and I'm kind of excited about that. Now you notice in the first few episodes I had a bunch of shots in this side of the screen, and I did some B-roll and things like that, and what I found was I think those are more visually interesting and engaging, but they also take a lot more time to do. And so just to recap a little bit about me, I'm a school teacher. I'm at school, I leave at 5 o'clock a.m. and I get home at about 5 o'clock p.m. so I have a long day at school every day. When I come home, I'm a father of 4 amazing kids and a wonderful wife. And we're DIYers. We do a lot of home improvement projects and things like that. Last year we finished our basement, landscaped our backyard, so we're busy here at home and I love to spend that time with my kids. If that wasn't enough, I'm also a sports writer. I maintain a blog of my own, a national recruiting service, and then I write for my own blog, and then as well as the newspaper on college football recruiting. I do web design. I have a handful of clients for that. I do online product reviews, and then I'm a writer. I published a couple books last year, and I'm looking to finish a couple more up this year. I'm just in the next week or two, I'm going to finish my Get Free stuff about doing online reviews, so I'm kind of excited about that. And last year I helped my daughter publish her first book, Battle School, and pretty excited about that. She's 10. Well, now she's 11, but she was 10 when she finished that book. I'll put links to that in the description below. Anyhow, that's a little bit about me. Why do I have this channel? Well, because I want to be healthy. And this time last year I weighed over 300 pounds. And I had a hard time moving around. I didn't feel good, and I decided I need to make a change. If you want more about that, go back to episode 1 and 2, and it will walk through that whole story. But now I'm almost 100 pounds lighter, about 15% body fat smaller, and I have a lot more energy. I went from not being able to run 1 mile a year ago to being able to run a marathon now, and I'm going to compete in a marathon here in a few weeks, so I'm kind of excited about that. But I've done a few marathons just as training runs in the last month or so, so I've come a long way in 1 year. My belly's gotten a little bit smaller. I went from a waist 46 to a waist 36. I went from double XL shirts to single XL, but they're a little big. There might be a day where I wear just normal larges, which would be amazing. And I've been lifting weights, and so I can actually see muscles on my body now, which is pretty cool. So a lot of things have been going well. How did I lose the weight? Just to recap, it was really the small things, the things you've always heard. First, I started with mindset and motivation. I had to decide that it was important enough for me to make some major changes in my life. Now, the major changes weren't actually big changes, but the mental hurdle to make those changes was a big thing for me because it meant changing my lifestyle. I'm not on a diet. I've changed the way I live my life, and so I don't count calories. I still eat most normal foods, but I have gotten rid of most added sugar. I have really reduced my dairy and bread. I eat way more vegetables, but they're delicious now. And I drink a lot more water. And so those are some of the big dietary changes that I've made. I've often heard you can't outrun a bad diet, and I'm positive that that is true. While I love to run and I love to exercise, I know it's the diet changes that have resulted in my weight loss. And so I got motivated by learning about other people and watching their transformation stories and listening to podcasts and reading some books, listening or watching YouTube videos and things like that. And so that really got me excited about it. And then I started trying things out, and I would try it out for 2 or 3 weeks, And if I saw results, I'd try to incorporate that into my life. Tried things like intermittent fasting. I reduced the fruit that I eat for the natural sugars in that. And once I started trying all these things out, the cool thing was I no longer was addicted to food. I didn't have the same cravings and the hunger that I'd experienced before. And so it was a lot easier to feel satisfied, to have more energy, to sleep better, and all the while I was losing weight. So I was so excited that that happened in a relatively short period of time. The first few weeks were an adjustment, but within a month, my appetite had radically changed. And while I was changing those things in my diet, I was also exercising a lot. And by a lot, it was a lot for me. I started running 3 or 4 days a week. And I started with 1 mile and then built up to where now on my Saturdays, I'm usually running at least a half marathon on Saturdays. That's a normal training run for me on Saturday. But most days during the week, it's maybe a half hour of cardio, and then 2 or 3 days a week, I do 10 or 15 minutes of strength training. And that's really it. But I've seen a huge impact on my life as I've done that, especially with the strength training. I've never lifted weights before. I hate the gym. I still haven't gone to a gym. But just doing a little bit of strength training has made a big difference for me. So that's where I came from. Now, why did I create this channel? Part of it was for me. I'm not done with my weight loss journey yet. I still have probably another 20, 30 pounds, but really the important thing is I've gone from 300 pounds to about 220 pounds, but more importantly, I've gone from 40% body fat down to 25% body fat. Now I'd like to get that 25 down to 15, so I've still got quite a ways to go for that. And so part of the reason I'm making these videos is to hold myself accountable. If you've watched or listened to my story, you know that the big reason I'm here is because of the community and the support that I've had, mostly from my wife, but also from my children and my students and my friends and colleagues. That community has been critical for me. So while my message to you is you can lose weight, you can make these small changes in your diet, and I'm going to show you how on this channel. I'm going to show you how you can exercise better. While that's my message, the important thing here is that we have a community, because you are way more likely, in fact more than 50% more likely, to accomplish your goals if, one, you write them down, but two, if you share them with others so that others can follow up on you. And so that's why I've created this After the Run community. I have a website, and if you haven't gone there, go check it out at aftertherun.com. I have a blog that's on that website. I have a podcast that I'm starting up. I probably won't launch it to this summer just because that's been a lot more work than I anticipated. I've recorded the episodes, but it's the production and things like that. So I'm going to wait till I can roll out with a ton of episodes and put those out this summer. And then of course I have this YouTube channel, and I'm going to put out a video each week for this year, and I've committed to those 50 first episodes. Now most of those will probably be solo episodes, because I don't have that community yet, and I haven't talked to you and we haven't corresponded. To make that change, what I've done is on the website, if you go to www.aftertherun.com/community, there's a form that you can fill out there where you can talk about your journey and your transformation. And I recommend you go there today and submit that first form. It tells me where you're at, how things are going in your life, what changes you want to make. It's an opportunity to set goals. Now, right now it's just a form that you fill out, and it'll take 5 minutes. Eventually I'm going to try to set up something for audio, photographs, and video, because this first check-in will be similar to my first check-in when I made my first video a year ago. Now, that time I just did it for me, but having that record was so important to look back. In fact, I wish I'd taken more pictures and videos early on so I can see the progress I'm making. So I'm recommending you do that. Take an audio recording or do a selfie video of yourself. Talk about where you're at now. What are your goals? Where do you see yourself in 6 months or in a year? And then of course fill out that form on the website. After you do that, the cool thing is then I can start encouraging you. I have that record. Now I'm not going to make any of that public, at least not initially, and never unless you say I can and should. But after 6 months, I'm going to have you submit another form and talk about your progress and show your measurements and things like that. And that's going to be part of the process of creating your own transformation video. I think this is going to be fantastic because then we can start to share one another's stories on the YouTube channel as well as on the podcast. Once you've checked in with that initial form that you can do right now, then I start the clock, and after 6 months you can submit the second one. After that one, I'm going to start pulling from those second submissions to get guests on the show, to either show their transformation video here on YouTube, or to talk about their journey and make some recommendations on the podcast. I'll also feature some of those on my blog and show some of the transformation stories there. So that's how you can get involved with this community. Of course, you can always comment on each video in the comments below, and I'd love for you to do that on this video. Tell me what you think of this idea of creating a community. If you have some advice for me or recommendations, I'd love to hear about it. So go ahead and hop on there and I'll respond to your comments. You can also head over to the blog. This will be aftertherun.com/5 for episode 5. And there's an opportunity there to make comments as well. So if you want to continue the dialogue, you can hop over to the blog to do that. I'm excited to continue on this journey with you now, so it's not just me. And I hope you'll get involved, that you'll join the community and submit that form today. All right? Have a great week. And as always, lose the weight, feel great, and run hard. See ya.